Rockwell.
I'd like to know, are you really ready for some super dynamite soul? And thank you, because now it's start time.
Rockwell.
Peace, this is DJ Rockwell. Could y'all hear that? Could y'all hear that Aquila and the Honda video just now? Because I saw that at the last second and I said, that's a perfect intro for tonight's conversation. Let me know, because if not, I want to run that back. Aquila and the Honda, if you're watching, salute, because what you said was a perfect introduction for tonight's conversation. Peace. This is DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ. It's Saturday. It is August the 6th, and you are tuned in to the Rockwell Radio Show. What's up? We got a conversation for y'all tonight. For real. We got a dialogue. We got a conversation. Something that needs to be discussed. But before we do anything, as I say every time around this time, before we press play on the movement, we got to have y'all share the show. Hit the like button. If you're watching on YouTube, share the show. If you're watching on Facebook right now, go ahead and hit that like button. Hit the like button and share it. And above all, tag somebody. This is one of those shows, y'all, where the conversation today is much bigger than hip hop. It's bigger than just the music. We're talking about a cultural phenomenon situation today. We're talking about a subject that a lot of people like to tiptoe around. Some people don't want to deal with this. And I thought to myself, why not? What is it about this topic that makes people shy away? What is? I'm going to stop in here real quick and see who's in the house. Denise Young, peace. My man, Dirty Cat in the House, peace. Y'all tag somebody, because that is going down. We've all been watching as DaBaby has been getting whipped. We've all been watching as DaBaby has been getting punished. We've all been watching as DaBaby has been taking a major beatdown. And what I want to say at the outset is, yes, we're going to talk about it. We're going to later open up the phone lines, but I have a presentation to show you to make a few points. And let me say at the outset, a few housekeeping things. But again, I want you all to share the show, hit the like button, tell somebody, because some people may say this conversation is going to be a bit leaning towards the controversial side. We'll see. But a few housekeeping notes. If you came here thinking that this episode is going to be the one where the Nation of Islam DJ bashes the LGBT community, and no, you tuned into the wrong episode. If you think that's why we're here, you've tuned in to the wrong show. This isn't why we're here. So if you came looking for the bloodbath, that's not what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan trained his students to do. He did tell us to tell the truth. And what we're looking at now is hip hop in a chokehold. Who's running it? Who's controlling it? What we're going to talk about tonight is something based on an article I wrote a few short days ago. It's on my page. If you haven't seen it, I'm encouraging you to go back and read it. It's an article I wrote called The Crucifixion of DaBaby. Some of y'all be, oh, he comparing DaBaby to Jesus Christ. No, stop it. Stop it. What we're doing is looking at what's happening in popular culture. Who's running popular culture? Tonight, we're going to talk about it. Tonight, we're going to try to pull the covers back on who's running this hip-hop-ish. I was going to play the Jay-Z joint, The Takeover, but, we deal with the copyright issue. I was going to play The Rape Over by our brother Mos Def, but we're dealing with the copyright stuff because those songs apply. You know what? There's a takeover going on, and it's happening on our watch. But there's a huge hypocrisy that we have got to uncover. And we're going to get into it. We're going to make a presentation. And then we're going to open up the phone lines and hear what you have to say. We're going to expose the hypocrisy happening in the music industry. We're going to expose what some might say is a fake outrage. We're going to expose the fact that their interest is not about moral uprightness. This is about money. I'm going to say it again. This isn't about them high-siding from a moral perspective. This is about money and control over the most important genre of music in the world. Do you know that as we speak, hip hop has overtaken rock and roll in sales? It is the most downloaded, it is the most streamed, it is the most consumed genre of music, in the world, at least in America. Do you know what that means? Y'all ever play Monopoly? When you play Monopoly, the goal was to have control over the biggest asset. What was that? Wall Street. Hip hop right now is the world's Wall Street. Who's running it? Is it us? I got questions. We want to dive into this. And shout out to my producer, Big Dave C. He's on vacation, so I kind of got a little extra duty tonight. So I want y'all to bear with me. I want y'all to work with me tonight because we're going to take our time. But again, share, like my sister Vicky Dillard always say, share. And hit the like button. And if you're watching on YouTube tonight, go ahead and subscribe. Let's get into this. And again, the format tonight is going to be discussing the DaBaby debacle, if you will allow me to use that language. Is this a defense of DaBaby? Let's start there. No. And we'll begin with slide 1. And this is what this is going to be. This is going to be a conversation. I'll be making a presentation on what happened and the fallout. And then we're going to open up the lines to see what you see. But it begins here. It actually begins with looking at what were DaBaby's actual words. Am I going to play the video? Nah, you've seen it, you've seen it, you've seen it. But let's look at what he actually said. These were his words. He was at a live show, the Rolling Loud show in Florida, and he said the words you see on your screen. If he didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, or any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2 or 3 weeks, then put your cell phone lighter up. And of course, here was the trigger line. Fellas, if you ain't doing blah, blah, blah in the parking lot, put your lighters up. Those are the words that got us here right now. Those are the words that have caused a nuclear fallout for your boy. Now, in my article, I said clearly, I don't support DaBaby like that. He ain't my cup of tea. If he's yours, fine. If you rock with that, fine. But as a DJ, I don't play his records because I don't agree with his message. But at the end of the day, he's still our brother. And should we cancel him or should we have a conversation? In the article, I made this point. We have a choice that we can be about the business of canceling people, or we can use the situation to have a conversation. People are afraid to have this conversation because it gets in the way of the bag. Let's deal with that. Let's deal with that. So again, share the show, share the show, share the show. We're going to go ahead and show some slides and point out a few things. And again, tonight's show is not designed to offend anybody. I'll say it again. If you came expecting DJ Rockwell to do a gay bash show, you're in the wrong place. This ain't it. The minister trained his students to be better than that. But if the truth offends you, you might want to duck down. And speaking of truth, in the description of the YouTube video, I placed, and I want to shout out to my brother Miles Muhammad from Hip Hop for Justice. We included in the description for later viewing in the YouTube description an episode from Hip Hop for Justice broadcast called The Weaponization of Hip Hop featuring Dr. Wesley Muhammad. It's going to bear witness and go into deeper detail than what I'm going to share here in today's show on the Rockwell Radio Show. So some of this we're going to pose a direct question to the LGBT community. And some of these we're going to pose some direct questions to you because we got to unveil this hypocrisy. Let's go. Let's start with a book, a very popular book. And it's apparent that DaBaby didn't read the book. And it's very, very relative to this. The name of the book is The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I want to draw that to your attention, but in particular, I want to draw to your attention the 19th law found in Robert Greene's book, The 48 Laws of Power. The 19th law reads, know who you're dealing with and do not offend the wrong person. Wait a minute, know who you're dealing with and don't offend the wrong person. Go ahead and share the show because we're about to jump into this a little bit. Wait a minute. Shouldn't the law read, don't offend nobody? Shouldn't the law read, be nice to all people? Robert Greene said, nah, don't offend the wrong person, he said. Well, wait a minute. Who is the wrong person? Who is the wrong group? What is it about power and control that some people you gotta tiptoe around? What is it about power that some people you can't offend? What is it about power that some folks you are not allowed to get on their bad side? Baby didn't read that. He didn't give two you know what's about Law 19. And let me be clear. When we talk about offending people, here's why some people are afraid to have this conversation. Because we want to be clear that we can't tell people how to feel. We can't tell people how to respond or how to react. We can't tell people what's offensive and what isn't offensive. That's akin to like white people looking at us and saying, get over slavery. That's akin to like white folks looking at black people and saying to us what is or what isn't racism. We're sensitive to that and we understand that. But we're here to talk about DaBaby and what happened. We're here to talk about the reaction. Was it an overreaction from the music industry? Let's look further. We just pointed out Robert Greene's law, number 19, offending the wrong person. Who's the wrong people? If we put a list together of all the people who have offended Black people in America, businesses, artists, athletes, the police, if we made a list of those who have offended us and we forced them to apologize, how long would that list be? Now, if we also made a list of the people who we have maybe inadvertently offended, either knowingly or unknowingly, and they forced us to apologize. And for the record, the apologize for today's show is going to be known as doing the BBD. What do you mean by that? Doing the BBD. Say it again. If you had to apologize, you was doing the BBD. And some of us have had to do the BBD again and again and again. And when you offend people, yes, you should apologize. We're mannerable people. We're mannerable folks. You should apologize, right? Of course you should. But here's the problem. Here's the issue. And again, hit that share button, hit that like button. Right now, you're tuning in to DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ, and you're watching the Rockwell Radio Show. Here's the problem. It seems to me that there is no punishment for offending Black people, whether you're white or Black. It seems to me that DaBaby, who has become filthy rich off of making songs disrespecting you and I, making records where he calls Black women this and says he's shooting blah, blah, blah with his dad. Nobody had a problem with that until we got to Law 19 and he offended the wrong person. And we want to now look at something that Boyce Watkins tweeted out a few days ago that makes the point perfectly. Let's read what Boyce Watkins had to say. He said, rappers call Black women bees and hoes. What you got? Another hit record. You can rap about killing Black people coming and going, Boyce says. Sell a million copies. But wait a minute. Say something about LGBT, white people, Asians or Jews. And guess what? You are on your knees doing the BBD. And he closes it out by saying, that's racism 101. And you are on an effing plantation. Who's running hip hop? This is DJ Rockwell. You tuned in to the Rockwell Radio Show, where we're discussing the crucifixion of DaBaby. We're discussing the crucifixion of DaBaby. Now, we're going to get into this. Some of y'all ain't going to like it. Some of y'all are going to agree. Some of you going to take offense. And it's okay. It's about having a conversation. Or should we cancel people? No, that's easy. Let's have a dialogue here. Let's have a conversation. We're going to have some real talk here. Let's have a dialogue. Let's keep this thing going. Again, so bear with me. Bear with me. Again, y'all hit that like button, hit that share button, because we're going to tell some truth today. And we are going to open up the phone lines if y'all are not too afraid to call in and deal with this subject in just a few moments when we get to the second half of the show. Now, I want to get into what happened, because as soon as DaBaby said those words, you know what happened? He started getting whipped. He started getting punished. They was dealing with DaBaby and he started hollering about it. Damn, baby. He was getting hit hard. So we have to get DaBaby some help, because he getting whipped hard. And right now, he is the leader of the BBD movement. He is the leader of the BBD movement right now. So let's get further into this thing. What happened? Black Twitter went wild. His fans turned their back. Let's see who else decided to offer a comment about DaBaby. Questlove stepped up and he began to criticize DaBaby. And he was saying, yo, foul ball, foul ball. His actions are wrong. Who was next? Who else had something to say? We heard from none other than the Material Girl herself, Madonna. Madonna opened fire on DaBaby, right? She hit him with both cannons. And she called his remarks, and we quote, hateful. Now, let's go on to probably, for the sake of this conversation, the most important voice who replied. And I say important for a reason. Mr. Elton John himself slams DaBaby homophobic misinformation about HIV, saying this fuels stigma and discrimination. Well, they have made themselves clear. But where were their voices for the last 3 albums? Where were their voices for the last 3 platinum albums of Baby using the N-word left and right? Where were their voices when DaBaby was calling black women bees left and right? Where were their voices for the last 3 platinum albums when DaBaby was just doing music that you and I go out and buy every day that's against our own best interest? Where were their voices at? Where were their voices? Somebody hit the share button, hit the like button. Let's deal with this, because we're going to open up the phone line in just a few minutes. See, this is where we run into a problem. What was their motive? What was their motive for replying? Where was their condemnation? Where was it? I say, and this is your brother's opinion, their motive was not to protect the feelings of the LGBT community. It couldn't have been, because there's Black LGBT. Where was their voice when DaBaby and thousands of other rappers was coming out like they do? One form of hate is acceptable. The hate against you and I is acceptable. The other form is not. Who run this rap stuff? Who's running the rap stuff? I'm trying not to cuss. We got to ask the questions. Who's running the rap joint right now? If one form is acceptable and one isn't, we got to deal with that. This is DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ. You tuned into the Rockwell Radio Show. Let's look at this. Well, why wouldn't they say anything to DaBaby when he was dealing with all of that? There's a specific reason why. You want to know why? Because you don't bite the hand that feeds you. They eat in that house. They Madonna, they Elton John, they Questlove. That's where they eat at. The system makes money off of DaBaby. But when he step outside the lines, he got to get this. He got to get that. If the house is on fire, they're going to be the first one to pick up the fire hydrant to put out the fire. If I'm lying, somebody stop me. We want you all to come on in here and let's have a conversation about it. Big Josh, what's good? What's good? We want to have a conversation about this. Hit that share button, hit that like button, and above all, subscribe to the Rockwell Radio Show. Let's move on, because we want to open up the phone lines and we want a conversation, not a cancellation. I want to correspond with you in this conversation. Now, we all have to admit DaBaby is getting whipped right now. He is getting whipped. Now, was what he said dumb? Yeah. Whatever happened to throw your hands in the air like you don't care? Whatever happened to say, oh, am I that old? Am I dating myself right now? Was he? Yeah, it was dumb. And as a result, he's getting this. He's getting it left and right. And he needs to be corrected. But guess whose job that is? Ours. Not theirs. Ours. Because at the end of the day, he belongs to us. He belongs to our community. So we have to correct what we produce. And one of ours is out there messing up right now. And it's up to us to correct our brother. And yes, I'm saying he is still our brother, even though I don't play his records. Let's deal with it. Let's move on. But there's one person, it seems, who has made all kind of homophobic remarks and lyrics over the years, and he has not met with the same fate. Who am I talking about? That guy. That guy. What is it that he gets to have a pass? Did he get a pass? You tell me. Did Eminem get a pass? Let's move on. On his third album, here's what he said that got him in hot water now over 20 years ago. M said these words: "My words are like a dagger with a jagged edge that'll stab you in the head, whether you're F-A-G or Les. Hate F's? The answer is yes." Does that sound confusing to you or straight ahead? Does that sound like he minced his words in any way? Not to me. You can't confuse that. What DaBaby said could be interpreted in a way and again, I'm not covering for DaBaby. I'm just holding this and I'm holding that. I'm looking at this and I'm looking at that. So did Marshall get beat down the way DaBaby got beat up? Did Marshall get this? Yeah, the media had a few words for him. The media had a few things to say for him. But when I did my research, when I started going through the Googles to see what happened when you say lyrics like that, did he get the same treatment that Baby got? Did he get dropped from shows? Did he get dropped from sponsors? Did people disassociate themselves with Marshall Mathers? I couldn't find, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please, or call me. I couldn't find one instance of Marshall Mathers losing the bag over his comments. Not one. If I'm wrong, somebody please correct your brother. I didn't find it. And of course, he went on to make more comments over his career. Now, let me be clear. I'm not picking on Eminem because I think M is dope. I'm a fan. I would have to put M in my top 15. You can't argue that he's dope. But you can't argue about what that lyric is either. He was clear. So what happened? What happened after that? What was the result? Did he get swept off the public stage? No. You know what happened? He ended up doing Grammy Awards with Elton John. Yeah, that happened in 2001. Elton John. Look, Eminem and the F word. He kept on going. But here's what I want to get to. Elton John came and defended Eminem. He says, well, Eminem was never homophobic. What? That's what Elton John said. Wait a minute, Elton, you blasted DaBaby. Where was your compassion for DaBaby? Look further at what Elton said. And this is important to note. GLAAD, G-L-A-A-D. We all know what the organization that they are, right? They said in a statement that at the time that they were appalled, they couldn't believe that Elton John was backing Eminem. Elton John was gonna make amends or hold up an olive branch for Eminem when he writes lyrics like that. A man who, as the quote says, promotes hate and violence against gays and lesbians through words and acts. And you know what? He said, yeah, that's exactly what he said he was going to do. I am going to put my star power behind Eminem. Why? Why? When just the opposite occurred, that he slams DaBaby. Why? We have to ask these questions. There's a hypocrisy here. There's an inequity happening here. And again, I'm almost done with my presentation because we're gonna put the phone number on the screen in just a few moments. Oh Lord, I'm already a half hour through the show. Let's speed this up. Did Eminem get removed from a playlist? I couldn't find it. Did Eminem's bag get interrupted? I couldn't find it. But the people today in the TikTok era, of course, that's the new generation. I don't know what they call this new generation. But they said, you know what? We're finding these old Eminem lyrics from 20 years ago, and we don't like them. The TikTok generation said, or Generation Z, we're offended, and we want him off of TikTok. And the New York Post covered this story. But guess what happened? Eminem fans said, nah, son, we rock with him. We rock with him. So, nah, we against you. Where was DaBaby's fans? DaBaby's fans said, oh, nah, son, nah. Y'all go ahead and get him. So we have to deal with this. Hit the share button, hit the share button, hit the share button. You're tuned in to DJ Rockwell and the Rockwell Radio Show. We're going to take just a brief break. We're going to go to commercial, and then we're going to wrap up this presentation with a grand finale and open up these phone lines because I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you have to say because this conversation isn't going away. Who runs hip hop? Is it us or is it someone from the outside of the culture? This is DJ Rockwell, and we will be right back. Let's go.
This is your brother Willie Muhammad, and I'm asking each and every one of you all to tune into the DJ Rockwell Show, live online. Peace.
Peace. This is your sister Aisha, the mental resurrectionist, hailing out of Baltimore, Maryland. Listen, whenever I'm online, I always tune into the Rockwell Radio Show. It's that hype. It's that dopeness. And you should tune in too. Peace to my brothers David and DJ Rockwell for holding it down, locking it down, giving us those sounds. Love y'all. Peace.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sister Latasha Muhammad, and when I'm online, I rock with the Rockwell Radio Show.
Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call Radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
The owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. Self-created out of triple stage darkness. Black man, you the first that ever knew the earth.
Like Lot, who's leaving Babylon? I pray I ain't a pillar of salt. Cause what I'm counting on is dedication and proper preparation. Implementation, incremental elevation of a mind that's in the...
Your body moving, then it goes a little something like this.
Hit it!
DJ Rockwell. He is DJ Rockwell.
Today we're going to be discussing what some of you guys have been asking me about. Are you too old to rap?
Knowing when to give up. Knowing when to give up. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real.
Shout out to my man Kareem, brother Kareem, and his podcast is called Kareem Talks. And me and a few of our brothers are going to be doing his podcast this Sunday. And I will put the link in the description, and also in the chat box, because just a few days ago, we had a firestorm post when I talked about when it's too old to be in the game. And you all responded like gangbusters. I was going to do a podcast on it and cover it myself, but it turns out our brother Kareem Talks was going to be doing the same subject. So I decided, since he invited me to be a guest, there was no need for me to do the show. So be sure this Sunday evening to tune in to Kareem Talks as we talk about when is it too old to rhyme? When should you get out the game? It's going to be an interesting conversation. Y'all meet us there. But right now, you tune back into the Rockwell Radio Show with your host, your brother, nation's number one DJ Rockwell. You know, I'm not used to giving a round of applause to myself. That feels kind of weird, you know. But share the show. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and share, tag somebody. But subscribe. And again, if you are watching us via Facebook, share somebody, tag somebody. We want people to know what we're talking about here. But let's get back into the conversation. And we're going to go back through those comments. We're going to address what's being discussed there as well. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. I see y'all. But let's get ready to wrap up because I want to hear from you. Because here's the grand finale we're about to get into now. Here's what's interesting. They tried it with Eminem, but his own fans said no. So the music industry says, we're holding DaBaby accountable for his words. A word? Are you really? We're going ahead and say that's not true. Matter of fact, in this exact same article, they messed up and accidentally told the truth. They told the truth. What did they say, Rock? Let's scroll down because here's where the rubber meets the road, as they say, and here's why we are here. The author quotes someone from the music industry. Her name is Miss Rose. Miss Rose said, and I quote, while Miss Rose believes the festivals, the shows, were doing the right thing by canceling DaBaby from their rosters, listen to this. She also sees more than a hint of what? Hypocrisy in the organizers' actions. She notes that the music industry has long tolerated and profited from artists like DaBaby. Wait a minute. Who has been accused of bad behavior before this incident. Pause. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me it's cool if they act a fool because you get paid from their foolery? She continues. At the same Rolling Loud festival, for example, he followed Megan Thee Stallion's performance by bringing who? Rapper Tory Lanez on stage, who Stallion alleges shot her in the foot just a year ago. There's many artists who are promoted by the industry who are celebrated by the industry because of their quote unquote edgy extreme behavior. That is a long-standing pattern that has not abated in any way, Rose says. Then, and listen to this very closely, then when they step out of line about when and how they actually live into that identity, then there's all this sort of, we're all about peace, love, and happiness. Wait a minute. Let's reinterpret that last line, shall we? Let's reinterpret that last quote. It began when they step out of line with who? I point you back to Law 19 of Robert Greene's book. So we interpret that to say, you can be all the kind of N-words, cuss, and F as many B's on record as you want. You can shoot as many N-words on record as you want because that's that edgy behavior that sells records for us. Go ahead. But wait a minute. When you step out of line and start coming for the people who feed you, they have a problem with that. They have an issue with that. Let's move towards the close. And this is going to be interesting. I really wish I would tag somebody because this is going to be very interesting. Now, I want to bring up the T.I. situation. And this is very interesting for a specific reason. From my perspective, T.I. was as middle of the road and politically correct as he could be. He walked that tightrope, I mean, on his tiptoes, saying, whoa, wait a minute, whoa. Don't they have a right to an opinion, he baby? But wait a minute, here's what happened with that. Here's what happened with that. When he said what he said, T.I. comes to DaBaby's defense after homophobic comments and gets slammed by Amber Rose, the slut walk chick. Wait a minute. Let's read what actually T.I. said. What were his actual words? He says social media is full of confusion. Words are often misconstrued, and to be honest with you, if homosexuals have more rights than heterosexual people, just say that. Let's let that be the law. You know how he talking his southern drawl, my man, ATL all the way. Let's let that be the law. Is that the law? I just feel like I respect gays, especially the ones who have the courage and bravery to step out and live in their truth. I respect that. But I respect it the same way if you're a heterosexual person. I respect it the same way. Then he circled back to Lil Nas X. And he said, I admire his courage, but what Lil Nas is doing, it just ain't for me, homie. The Lil Nas X stuff, the performances, the videos, I got a lot of respect for bro. Because like I said, he has the courage to live his truth. But that stuff, it ain't for me. I can't look at it. It just ain't for me. That is what our brother T.I. said. To me, it don't get no more in the middle of the road, politically correct and respectful than that. Am I tripping? Amber Rose read that. Amber Rose said, oh no. Oh no. Amber Rose said, what in the homophobia? She wrote on her social media, she said, y'all are so mad that Nas X is effing winning. To be this homophobic feels like they are battling something internally. You know, that's what they always say. This is not equality, this is hatred. Period. I'm an activist first and foremost. This is why I started my slut walk. For everyone. We can be equally slutty. For everyone to come and feel comfortable in their own skin. I shouldn't make mockery because he believes this. This is how she honestly feels. She goes on to say, this perpetuates hate and violence, and I stand with the LGBT community. We should all feel safe at a concert no matter what our status is, who we love or who we want to give. This is what y'all backing? The first response should have been, you need to get out of family business. We ain't talking to you. Remember that scene in Black Panther when they had to go to the neighboring tribe and they had to bring old boy with him, old white boy with him? And he tried to give his opinion on what did they do? What did they do when he tried to speak? That should have been our collective response to Amber Rose. You don't have a voice here. Shh. Outsiders in our business is a problem. Not on the Rockwell radio show. Let's move to close. Because I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. We're going to open up these lines, and if y'all call, wonderful. If not, wonderful. and then we'll go back through some of these comments. Let's get to it. Now, in conclusion, and this I want to direct to my LGBT family. If you're watching, I'm glad you're here. But I have what some might say is a challenging question. If you are gay and you do hip hop, isn't your main goal to be accepted like anybody else who does hip hop? Right? Isn't your goal, you want to be able to sell records based on your talent like everybody else, don't you? Sure you do. There are plenty of gay artists out there who are dope selling records. Some out, some not. Right? But I want to bring something to your attention as we close my comments. I want to hold up these two artists. We all know who these two artists are, right? On the left, the world now knows who he is. And on the right is Young M.A., right? What do they have in common? Well, you might say, well, they both, are LGBT. That's obvious, right? What's the difference? I want y'all to think about that. Matter of fact, I want to pause. I want the people in the comment section to tell me what's the difference between these two artists. What's the difference? I'll tell you what's the difference between these two artists. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted and let people tell you that the hip hop community rejects you based on your sexuality. The difference is Young M.A. is accepted and respected because she has said this publicly. I don't want to be known as the gay rapper. She said, I don't want that to be my hook, my calling card. I want to be known because I'm dope. Whereas Lil Nas X is using his sexual preference as his hook, his calling card, his gimmick to sell records. We don't respect that. We don't respect that. There's a list. There's a whole subgenre of the LGBT hip hop out there, and I've checked it out. It's dope. It's dope. But they're not necessarily selling it to you on a string. Why is Lil Nas X the poster boy for this quote unquote agenda? You know why? Because he has agreed to the game. He signed to a major label. Young M.A. is independent and has been since day one. Who's running this rap stuff? I tell you what we're going to do. This is DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ, and we are at the end of this presentation. And as promised, I want to hear what you think. I want to hear what you think. I want to hear what's your take. Some people will be like, nah, son, I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole. Nah, son, I want to keep my job. Nah, bruh, I don't want them to mess up my bag. There is a extreme sense of fear. And it's a sense of fear that has caused us to lose the control of our culture. An extreme sense of, you know what? I'm better off if I don't say anything and point out this crap I see. So, although some of you may have tuned in thinking that this was going to be an episode where we beat up on gay folks, no, sir. What we really have to do is take accountability for ourselves. What we really have to do is take accountability for our own fear. We have to go back to Robert Greene's book and answer the question: are there some people out there that we're afraid of offending? If so, why? What do they hold over you that you are afraid to offend them? The Bible says, you have not given me the spirit of fear. But we have to ask hip hop today, if you are afraid, why? The phone lines are open. You can call us right now at 404-919-7399. A lot of you watch on the phone. I understand that. Some of you will watch on your laptop. Some of you will watch by different means. But if you have a phone line available, you can call me right now. I want to hear from you. Did they overreact? The LGBT community. Did the music industry overreact? What you think? Let's go through some of these comments. What's good, Sister Denise? He said, fear is driven by an attachment to materialism. Facts. They are attached to things. White folks bad. Let's call it what it is. If the industry makes you, they can break you. And we see it every day, again and again and again. Shout out to Good God. Shout out to Born Talib. Shout out to Denise Young. My brother Mikael says this. He says, what you say there, bro? He says, Paul Mooney would say, Eminem has the complexion for protection. It is what it is. Not only are we looking at the industry running roughshod over black folks, they control the game and protect their own for the same offenses. It's up there, y'all. 404-919-7399. We're at the last couple of moments of the show. So that's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. There is an inordinate sense of fear. Robert Greene wrote in his book, and I repeat before I close, you can't offend the wrong people. Let's go to the phone line real quick. Peace, this is DJ Rockwell. Who am I talking to?
It's your brother Mikael, that baby the military giant.
Salute, salute, salute. Wa alaikum salam, King man. How you see this, bro?
Brother, I'm gonna just drop my little 2 cents in the bucket.
Come on with it.
Having worked years ago as executive protection in the industry.
Yes, sir.
And I've been around entertainers from the music industry, film and TV, fashion, sports. You know, in particular with the film and the music. You know, there is an agenda, and it's really about the control and keeping people on a certain frequency. And I've said before in some videos I've posted before about how that thing operates behind closed doors.
Come on.
You have to have some level of talent. You don't have to be the most talented, but you have to have some talent. That's one. But the other thing is you have to have some type of vice. that they can exploit.
Listen, say it again.
You have to have a vice. So when it comes to this whole agenda, this kind of what they call it, buck breaking.
Come on.
You know, that's a part of the industry as well, because they have to dominate you. I remember watching the sister Mariah Carey years ago when she was married to Tommy Mottola, you know, and there was a level of control that was exhibited over her, and it caused her to have a breakdown. They were feeding her drugs.
Right.
Matter of fact, I met the narcotics officer who was working in the industry that was her go-to person for the drugs.
Wow. Wow.
And then she ended up in rehab. If you remember, she came out of rehab. It was like a rebirth of Mariah.
Right.
So I'm using that as an example to say there is a level of control that they hold over you, and they have to have a vice that they can kind of like level or give the edge over you to keep you in your place. You know, and there is definitely an agenda. There's a certain frequency that they want to keep everybody operating on, which is why now you see nothing but the letter community all in the media, all on TV, all on film, whereas 20, 30 years ago, you know, that was unheard of. And we can look at it as, well, these are breakthroughs. You know, we're advancing. Okay, that's fine and dandy, but personally, who you engage with sexually is your business. That's your business. That's between you and whomever.
Listen.
We don't care about that. And I think you made a very good point in the distinction between the artist Young and May, who I've heard and I have a level of respect for. Not somebody else too often, but I've heard some of her rap.
Sure.
And she's got talent.
Right.
Versus Lil Nas X, and I had to agree with you. He's not my cup of tea. You know, just the talent's not there. You know, it ain't hate, it ain't homophobia, it's none of that. It's just that
it ain't what you do.
Talent ain't there.
Right.
It's not my cup of tea. But there is that agenda. There's definitely that agenda. There's definitely that frequency that they're trying to keep everybody on. And the way they sway you is if you say something against it, they put a spin on you. You know, just like Amber Rose came out and put that spin on T.I.'s words, which you said correctly. He was middle of the road. You know,
as much as you can be,
as you can get. And how do you misconstrue his words? I have no idea. But it's like they have to have that peanut gallery. They got to have what's my man that comes out? My man Brown, the former NBA player. They got to go along, get along. Okay?
That's what he said.
And that's kind of what you kind of contending with when you're dealing with this industry. And the amazing thing is they'll make you feel as though it's all America. It's the whole world against you. And it's only a handful of folks just pulling them strings.
The powerful ones. And you feel like it's everybody.
Right.
Brother, thank you as always for rocking with your bro and listening to the show and adding a valuable piece of information and input. Thank you, big bro.
DJ Josh.
Salute, walaikum salam. Listen, Tariq in the building. Salute, walaikum salam. Sister, they keep black folks apologizing. Yes, they do. And again, we said it earlier. The new word for apologizing is doing the BBD. They doing the BBD. And when they get on their backside, they hitting them with that whip. They hitting them with it, making them dance. They dancing for that money, hollering. We got to do something. We got to take control back. How? I'm out of time. There's so much more I wanted to say. I got more slides, but the action and the ball is in your court. The action and the ball is in your court. Hip hop consumer, hip hop fan. Yeah. The ball is in your court. You want to take back control of your culture, your music, your imagery. Now, it's not about canceling. We got to have conversations and set the bar. How do we do that? By supporting the ones you like with your money, with your clicks, with your eyes. Right now, we all at home. What you can do is go to your artist page, whether they got a major label deal or not. Support. Put your mouth behind where your support is. Put your clicks behind where your support is. Share them because they got multi-million-dollar budgets. But you got something that is equally as important, if not more. Your voice. Use it. Because being silent is costing us the game. This is DJ Rockwell, the nation's #1 DJ. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for taking time out of your schedule. Those who did, we appreciate you. Share the show. And next week, we'll be back again. Sunday, we'll be here again, talking with our brother Kareem Talks on his podcast on that hot subject. Are we too old to be in the game? Oh, Sister Aisha said, y'all old ass need to sit down. That was a fun post. A lot of ideas went back and forth, but my brother, Kareem Talks, has invited your brother on to his podcast. That's taking place this Sunday. Be on the lookout for the link. This is DJ Rockwell. Thank you all so much. Subscribe to the show. Share the show. Hit the like button because we ain't stopping. As long as you're listening, as long as you're tuning in, we're going to keep giving you this content that's weighing these two glasses, the clean glass and the dirty glass. This is Rockwell. We out next week.
Rockwell.
I'd like to know, are you really ready for some super dynamite soul? And thank you, because now it's start time.
The owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. Self-created out of triple stage darkness. Black man, you the first that ever knew the earth.
Like Lot, who's leaving Babylon? I pray I ain't a pillar of salt. Cause what I'm counting on is dedication and proper preparation. Implementation, incremental elevation of a mind that's in the...
Your body moving, and it goes a little something like this.
Hit it!
Today we're going to be discussing what some of you guys have been asking me about. Are you too old to rap?
Knowing when to give up. Knowing when to give up. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real.